Hello, welcome to our WNPL season preview for one game at a time. Welcome if you're just joining us. Welcome back if you watched our State Leagues preview. Once again, as always, joined by Alessio Carocci, David Grant and Marc Talbot. Keen to talk plenty more football with you three.
I'm very excited to talk more football, but before we do that, speaking of football...
What, Marc?
We do need a shout out to Pega Sports who have decked us out, as you can see, in these lovely... I'll call them uniforms. This is our team uniform for the day, our team kit for the day. And a big thank you to all the guys, as you can see, all the shirts in the background. Thank you to Macron, Pega and Belgravia for loaning us these shirts for our show today.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciated. Plenty of clubs represented, plenty of WNPL clubs represented, which we'll head right into. For this preview, for this and the men's NPL, we're going to go through every single club, look at a few squad lists, ins and out, and at the end we'll give out our predictions, including a full league table. So starting off, we'll go by alphabetical order. Adelaide Comets, the grand final winners last year for the first time. They came second, scored plenty of goals, have plenty of quality. I suppose, Marc, just a word on them in general. They're a strong team.
Oh, yeah, they're a strong team, and they'll be there or thereabouts again this year. There's no two ways about it. They've got a great coach. They've got a great squad. And for me, they keep some of their key players fit, then they'll be right up there again, I think, pushing finals, if not, again, finalists this year.
David?
Yeah, just to back up what Marc was saying there, I mean, Chrissy Panagaris, obviously a key player. I think she scored in almost every game, a league game that she played in.
It was some sort of stat like that, yeah.
She scored in every league game that she played in last year, but missed a few through injury. So if she can stay injury-free and fit, I'm sure she'll be fit, then that'll be a big difference for them. Stella Drakopoulos comes in from NTC for them, so one significant new signing. But yeah, I think they'll do quite well again this year.
Yeah, and I think another thing about Comets as well, just thinking about it as well, the women's team for them, and we'll talk about later in the men's and some other clubs as well, but I think they're really carrying the torch for the club at the moment with the success they're having. They took a while to get there, Comets women's, but now it seems like they're on a good trajectory to be up there and about there for the next couple of years to be a consistent team like some other teams we'll talk about. As
you said, David, only really a few minor ins and outs, which is almost in a way, especially a team that does so well, is almost sort of a mark that where they are is that there's not really too much to improve on because they're already sort of at the level they want to be at.
Well, I'm sure Joel Porter would like to be one level better, and they finished second often in the league, in the home and away. Certainly in the home and away season, I'm sure he would like to go one better there in terms of topping the table. I think West Adelaide this year might be strong again. We'll get to them a bit later, but I'm sure Joel Porter's idea is top the table rather than finish second.
Absolutely, very important goal to have. On to Adelaide Uni, a team who have had a lot of ins from all around, not only South Australia, but internationally as well. Things are looking up for them. They sort of, again, a team that last few years really have sort of been on that bottom end of the table. But last year, probably there was a bit of inconsistency, especially towards the end of the season. I have it written down here. They didn't win any of their last 7 matches last season. And that was after they drew 0-0 with West Adelaide, which is a big feat in itself. So I think for them, it is really having consistency and getting results all throughout the season.
Yeah, look, they've really struggled the last few years. Always been, or if they haven't, they've been very close to having to play that relegation playoff. So for me, anything is getting players in. A lot of players have come in. We've seen that their ins and outs. There's quite a number of players in, but they've got to be doing something because they've been struggling. So for me, bringing these players in could be a massive benefit for them. They might actually be able to get up the table and not be looking over their shoulder as much as they have been in the last few years, and really hoping that team from the WSL that's coming up, they're better than them. They can't keep relying on that. And that's what they've been doing the last few years. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this year, I've got them higher up the table, but I think this year could be a much better year for them.
David, a few NTC players coming in, a few Americans, Chinatsu Kaio, the Japanese national, joining the club as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chinatsu Kaio will be a surprise, or a player to watch, should I say. Not a surprise, because I'm sure she's every bit as good as we've been led to believe. But yeah, she has she promises a lot. She's played for Japan at under 17 level. And I think under Duncan Song there, Adelaide Uni are a building project. And I think this year, I've got them down to be a bit of a surprise package. I think they might do okay this year. Last year, 12 of their squad were under 20, or 20 and under, should I say. So still a very young team. He's got a lot of building to do there, but I think it's gradually going to come good for them. And I actually think they might sneak into finals. You know, what's finals? Fifth? Yeah, so I've got them down as a wee surprise package this year. Maybe sneak into finals.
Yeah, I mean, as Mark and David were both saying, I think in the past as well, they've relied on players coming back from the W League or ex-W League players. So picking up a lot of these young players, they will be there for the whole season. They'll be there through the preseason as well. I think that will probably help them this year as well, and be able to know that they have all the players they can rely on for the whole year, and it's not all on one person's back to keep them up or to keep them in the race. So
absolutely. Also, Uni, another one of those clubs who aren't yet able to sort of play at their home. Being in the university, was one of those clubs that will be playing out of Jeps Cross. We are getting to a point, I guess, Marc already on this, that a lot of the WNPL, compared to even 5 years ago, are playing out of their home grounds. Of course, only go a few years ago, remember back the nights, Friday nights at the parks, where the whole league was played in one night, a whole round was played in one night. So.
Yeah, and that for me, I actually really liked it in the fact that it did bring the whole league together. But the clubs,
I think we also hear players say that they enjoy seeing everybody. It's a catch up every week.
It's a catch up every week, but you get to see them. But you also get to see them play without having to watch the extra video footage and things like that. But and the crowds stick around as well, so you're always playing in front of a crowd. But it's always goes to say you can play at your home ground. Makes a big difference. You know the ground. Obviously, it's a little bit different these years with all the artificials, but you still get to play at your home ground, your own change rooms, you get your own locker. It makes a big difference to players. So I think a lot of the clubs are now getting to that point where they're all playing at their home ground, which makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And like I said, more and more every year, even with teams coming up, Sturt got to play at their home ground. I think Vista also playing a few matches up at Modbury Vista, I think also mixed in with a few at Jeps Cross. And I think especially for viewers and neutrals getting to travel and see these grounds, new data, I guess I go to you on this, is only a benefit, I think.
Yeah. So some of these grounds are actually familiar to me from my days as a coach.
You're very limited.
My short-lived days as a coach.
Not very good days.
Yeah. So I did coach juniors, girls, and I've been up to Vista's ground a few times. Lovely setting, and it's great to see the facility they've got there with a big club room, albeit at one end of the park looking up. But the chance to go to some new grounds, I'm looking forward to, yeah. Absolutely.
We'll go to Campbelltown City next, a team who, as we saw last year and this year in the preseason, the off-season, are definitely building to be the biggest club here in South Australia. The list of ins, Marc, when you look at it on paper, is pretty extraordinary. The likes of Stella Vitrak coming over from NTC, Anastasia Simic, Livia Bramley coming back from Durham over in the WSL 2. She was at Portsmouth as well. Izzy Chekowitz coming back, Anna Pritchard. To have all those players, not just playing, but to get them in one window is pretty extraordinary.
It is pretty extraordinary. It's great work from the club. And as Alessio alluded to earlier about the Comets women's flying the flag or that torch for for Comets, I think it's almost the same now for the Campbelltown women's team. I think, and I'm not going to go into the MPL side, but I think they're going to be the team carrying the club forward in terms of that flag bearer, because they've brought in some amazing players. They're going to, and I honestly don't know how Joe is going to be able to manage all of that. He's managed to bring them all in the window, but then how does he manage all of those good players? He's only got he can only play 11.
I'll say, and those were only a few of players that I named in that list.
Yeah, exactly. And they had a great winning side last year. I mean, they finished, I think it was in the finals.
Just snuck in on the final
just snuck in finals. So they already had a good side. They've only gone and gotten more players. I'm not going to say they were better or worse, but they've got in more players, which means their squad is strengthened in depth if they've kept all of last season. So I don't know how he's going to keep them all happy, but that's the coach's job, and that's what he's got to work towards. But amazing window, and like I said, I'm expecting big things from them this year.
David?
Yeah, the question is, how Joey Rakiki and Omero Gosti, the two coaches there, how do they keep all these players happy? Because they're all quality players, that are coming in. I think Olivia Bramley and Anna Pritchard are solid signings right enough. So depth, as you mentioned before, isn't going to be a problem. But I think we talked last year about MetroStars being in this position in the NPL. You've got this influx of players, and you're starting to look at this list of players that are signing and think, who's left to play for other teams? That's the question that I wonder about. The other thing is that if you are playing all these new players, how quickly do they gel? I mean, they're going through a pre-season cup just now. but you've got those dynamics of, you know, new groups and players that have known each other from before versus new ones that are coming in. I'm sure to the audience they'll say everything's rosy and everybody's getting on fine, but it's a big group and it's a competitive group, and they'll all be wanting a spot in that starting 11. And there's they've signed 10, did we say, in addition to the sort of 8 or 9 that are still
I
there.
have listed 13 or 12. Sorry,
12. I think it's the most ins in a club that we've been told of anyway. And so the question is, you know, like, what do the ones do that aren't getting a run, that are on the bench or in the reserves? But that's one for Joey and Amero to work out. Maybe they'll do good cop, bad cop. You know, that's maybe what works when you've got two coaches. It's unusual there. They've got two coaches, two head coaches. So maybe one plays good cop, one plays bad cop, and one says, you know, I really want you in that team, but the other one's saying he doesn't. He's got his doubts. And, you know, they can play. They've got the advantage of playing that off. If it's just one coach, then everything's on their shoulders or his or her shoulders. So looking forward to seeing how they go. They were obviously a big package last year when they were bottom up until about mid-season, and then just came good with Alicia Guineef and Madeline Laurel that came in, the two North Americans, one Canadian, one from the US. They've both left, not re-signed. I think they were hoping to keep them, but I mean, where would they have put them? That's the other question. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in V2.0 in 2026.
And I suppose just to go to you next, Alessio, another thing is that at Campbelltown, they do sometimes play on both pitches. They play quite a few games on that back artificial pitch, but then, you know, select games they'll play on the main pitch, which I think is a very interesting thing for teams to have to deal with sometimes when you're almost unsure about, you know, where you're going, but where are you going exactly?
Yeah, I'm surprised because there's a very similar setup at Adelaide City where they have an artificial, they have a grass. They play double headers on the grass.
Yes.
They never use the artificial for official first team games.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised if Campbelltown don't try and maybe utilise that a bit more this year. And maybe make their juniors more on that artificial pitch or rescheduled games on that one and let the women play on there. It was seen like the women have been training on the grass pitch as well, so maybe that is an incentive that they are going to be playing on it as well. But back to both of your points, Mark and David, about the signings they've made. It's great to see they've done it again at the start of the year. Last year it took them halfway through the year before they figured out, okay, maybe we need some improvements to stay in this league and get up a bit more. So it's great to see another club who have a successful men's team as well, like Comets did, and they've invested in the women's, made the right signings, got the coaches in, and now it looks like it's going to be another team that will be in that consistent top 2-3 for the next couple of years, and they've invested early, started the season with pre-season.
I'll go back to you, David, as well. It was also, you sort of made the call halfway through that they were going to make finals, and it just came true. But from memory, at the beginning of the season, they weren't even, it wasn't that they were a bad side at the beginning, they just couldn't seem to get the results. And as you said, going to those mid-season signings really changed quite a few things. With these signings, it does seem like it should be, in theory, a more consistent year in terms of results for them.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think the start of last year, they'd only just been promoted from the WSL.
Undefeated too.
Yeah, but having come up, they had there's a big leap between WSL, with all due respect to the likes of, well, I can't remember who was bottom the year before last, but let's use Cove as an example. Sorry, Cove as an example. You know, bottom last year, they're playing games against Cove, and then they're moving into a promoted into WNPL, and they're moving into games against the likes of West Adelaide. So last year, I think they learnt a lot. And I could tell, I covered a few of their games in the first half of the season, and then I for some reason I didn't, or for reasons unknown to me, they moved me on to other games. But I could tell every time I went out in that first half of the season, there was a real buzz about the team unit. They were really well bonded. They were enjoying their football. They were enjoying the experience of being in the WNPL. For many of them, it was probably the first time. And I guess I got to know a few of them, and I just got a really positive vibe from them. And they played MetroStars, Metro United at the time, at TK Shutter. And from memory, I think they lost that game, or they got a draw in that match. But there was something different about them in that game. There was new signings coming in as well. They had Claudia Jenkins coming in, and they had the two North American girls that we mentioned before coming in. And I think that was all they needed. They just needed a little bit of strength in numbers, a bit more depth, and a little bit more quality, probably, because some of the WSL girls were maybe just not quite up to scratch. And that was enough to get them up the table and then sneak in, you know. And I know that some people were saying, well, you know, they've brought these players in and they've paid their way into finals. But for me, it was about investment in women's football, of which I'm a big advocate, having daughters that play the game. So for me, it was about investing in women's football. That's how I looked at it. And I felt they thoroughly deserved their finals berth once they got there.
We'll go on to Flinders United next. They finished 8th last year. Top goal scorer, Cote Rojas. We know what she can do. She's left. She's gone to Salisbury Inter. And looking at, they scored 32 goals last year. Cote Rojas scored 15. Victoria Rickards scored 8. So 23 of those 32 goals came from those two players. And Cote has a history which is almost not worth listing because of everyone knows about it. But it's huge for any team. If any team has Cote and loses somebody like that, it's huge for them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's my notes is what are Flinders at this stage without Cote? What do they do? How do they score their goals? And that's no disrespect to any of the other players, but when you've scored between two players, you've scored, 70% of the goals, you've got to look at other options. How are you going to now score goals? And that for me is a worry for Flinders this year is where are those goals going to come from? They've got a young squad, but you can't replace a player like Cote. It's as simple as that. I don't care what anyone says. In this league, how do you go about replacing? And I don't think you can. And
not only that, you lose the combination of Rickards and Rojas in particular. That I think for them was also crucial.
Yeah, that was the key. It's your old partnerships. Whenever you watch a football team, you look at the partnerships. Even you look at the Premier League, and I'll go back years of the Michael Brooks and Sergi when they were partners. And you've got to look at the partnerships that they had as strikers and your striker or your 10 and your striker. You've got to have a partnership. And if you don't, it's going to make it really difficult. And when you lose that, or at least half of it, you watch out. I do fear for Flinders this year, unfortunately.
David, they have made some decent pickups. Vicky Juma, Bianca Gray joining from Adelaide City to in particular that I think are probably worth pointing out as, Vicky Juma sort of came off the bench for City a lot. Bianca Gray, a consistent for City last year too, and last few years really.
Well, I think if you remember through our podcast last year, we all raved about Vicky Juma. We thought that she probably deserved more than she got. More than she got.
Every time she came on,
we
were seeing highlights, and it was bang. She was scoring goals, or she was making a difference in that game.
Yeah, and I think collectively we all thought Vicky Juma probably deserved a better or more opportunity at Adelaide City. It wasn't forthcoming, and she's got a new home now in Flinders United. And I get what you're saying about Cote Rojas, but I think Juma has got a lot of potential. Maybe not to reach the same sort of heights as Cote Rojas, but I think if she's played every week and she gets her confidence up, she knocks a few goals in the first few weeks, she might just end up on a bit of a roll. I think she's a bit of a player to watch. So I think Tom Monsignor has got a bit of a potential star in her. Bianca Gray at the back. I mean, I think that's a good pickup as well. So, to add a bit of strength at the back, sort of thing. So I think it'll be a tough year for Flinders. I haven't got them down to make finals, but I don't think they'll be relegation candidates this year. I'm going to be a bit more positive, I think, about them. I was a little bit negative about Flinders last year, and I'm now asking for forgiveness.
Alessio?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing some positive things as well in terms of their facilities and their pitch as well, which is great to see. Hopefully, we'll see that in the WNPL soon as a home pitch, as we were talking about previously. But yeah, I feel like they'll struggle obviously with the outs they have. I mean, even talk about the year before that, the outs they had that all went to Comets as well. They really hadn't replaced that last season either. So to lose the taliswoman like Cote Rojas, I think it's going to be a tough year for them.
Going to Football SA, very much an unknown. These are young girls coming through, and I guess, David, going to you, the core that they've had, and that we know, a lot of them have left due to age, and that's how the nature of the system works. But you look at the list of players that we have that have left, the likes of, and I'm naming sort of the real standouts, even like junior Matildas we're looking at, Anastasia Simic, Stella Victorek, Nicola Krantis, Lily Barber, Miley Grigg, Mary Dalpiaz. These are great even WNPL level players. And again, it's an age system. Same with Adelaide United youth. It just, you don't know what's coming through next, if it's up to that standard or it's a building year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the difficulty that the coach, Michaela Stella, faces with a squad like that. It's very rotational due to the age limit. What is it? 20? 18?
I think it's 18.
18. So, how do you build up a squad for some kind of long-term plan when they can only really stay there for 2 or 3 seasons? So it's a nightmare for him, but he has got Erin Prince coming in from Metro United. So she's a junior Matilda herself, very good player, plays well beyond her years. She's probably still only about 16 or 17. She was very young when she came over last year to Metro, and I think she was probably only about 15 then. Came over from Victoria. So that's a good pickup. The others coming through, well, they're all very young, aren't they? And I think a lot of them played reserves last year in the NTC setup. There's a young girl, Tarasenko, playing. She is the daughter of a guy I used to play football against for Ukrainian Lion, USC Lion in my Sassel days. It's funny seeing the next generation come through, and it's also depressing. So there is the promise of that, those kids coming through from reserves, and those youngsters get given their opportunity. But I think they'll struggle this year. I think just having that sort of player movement through, it must be very difficult for the coaching group there to try and build anything. But having said that, they must get a degree of satisfaction from seeing all the graduates move on to WNPL clubs. You know, no one's going to a WSL club. A few have gone overseas, and Grayson Blishke's gone to the United States.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them have gone on scholarships.
So there's a few of them going on to that. So, you've got to give yourself a little pat in the back, because ultimately I suppose their main aim is developing and progressing the individuals rather than trying to build a team that can win a trophy. Yeah.
And I suppose on that, as you said, it is a weird situation that they're often put in, because the quality of player they have, even though necessarily they're not, I say they're not there to win trophies. It's nice to win a trophy, but it's not the main aim of this team. That players age out every year. It happens. I just think this year in particular, as I listed the names before, there's just quite a few notable names that we can see, Marc.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they're not there to win. Yes, they're there to win trophies, but it's and you can ask McKelly. It's about the player development. He's there to create players for the A-League team. Yeah, it's as simple as that. That's his aim. The more he gets into that women's A-League, they consider that his job's done. So it's just hard for them. I honestly hats off to him. There's no way I could do that. I just think it's such a selfless role in the fact that he goes, I may not win a trophy, but I've got to be able to promote as many players as I can. They lose, and they're losing some fantastic players. So it is going to be tough, but like I said, hats off to McKelly and his coaching staff. I think they do a fantastic job. And the fact is, so many of them go into, as David said, go into the WNPL, into the Matildas, interstate and overseas, just shows you the level that he's able to produce. So it's a fantastic achievement on his part.
And more often than not, Alessio, they normally come back and score against him for other WNPL clubs.
Yeah. I mean, I think, in my opinion, especially this Football SA NTC women's team has been quite punching above their weight a little bit in the league for these last few years. I mean, we'd go to the men's later on, but youth teams never really compete that highly. Not a lot of the time, even in the top division. So to see his NTC teams consistently get close to make finals, make cup, they get close quite often. So it might just be a bit of a down year, but I'm sure next year the same. These girls have another year in the system, and then we'll go compete again. So I think it's just goes to show what a great job he does to keep them competitive as well, and not just be a young team that is getting smashed every week because they're so much younger than the other teams. They're always competitive. They're always fighting near the top of the table, at least against some of these top teams as well. They pull out some great results. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Next up, MetroStars for the first time. Of course, formerly Metro United last year. Again, another team losing their top goal scorer. Interesting preseason for them. They even went down to Mount Gambier on a preseason trip. New colours, new name, new table position other than sixth, Marc? Without spoilers?
I'll say that new colours, not really. They're still playing in their red. They've still got the yellow. And they're going with the yellow, obviously, because they're taking up, obviously, the MetroStars side of things. But they've done a commemorative kit for this first year, which is a predominant colours of the Metro United team. So the home kit is predominantly red with actually a really nice yellow and black pinstripe. And then obviously the away kit is, I think, predominantly black as well. So I do like the fact that Metro have gone, yep, let's do that. It could be, is it going to just be the same for them, or is it going to be a new club? And I'll do that in their bracket because they are moving across, and it means a new fresh start. I am still unsure, to be honest, on Metro. So I don't know how they're going to play out. I honestly couldn't tell you what I expect of them, because I just think they have had a lot of outs. They've had some ins. But the one good thing that they have kept some of their consistent key players. So for me, that's always a good sign. And I know that Hade scored again the other day, scored a hat trick. And if you continue with players like her, then they're going to be there or thereabouts.
David, of course, I did say they're going to finish sixth in jest due to yourself making comments last year, but I guess, your thoughts.
Yes, I described them as mid-table mediocrity last year.
Going to bring it up again.
And I was not able to forget that. They constantly reminded me of that. I sort of have them for, I'll say mid-table, but I won't say mediocrity. I think, look, before we started this and I was writing my early notes for this little show, I kind of thought maybe there'll be slow starters. They've lost a lot of players. They've got a lot of new players have come in, and there'll maybe be slow starters in the league. Once they get their act together, and once it comes together, I think they'll probably do quite well. But having said that, and I was speaking to Tony Mansueto, their coach, the other day, along with Mr. Hadai, Michaela's father, and they've had some very good results in the pre-season cup. I think they won their first two, but they might have played last night. I'm not sure how
they won 4-2 against Flinders.
So they've won all three of their first pre-season cup games, and against decent enough sides as well. So having said that, I initially thought they would have a slow start but would pick up and finish mid-table. I now think maybe they'll hit the league running on the back of their FA Cup, their pre-season cup run. So I still feel they're not going to be as good as West Adelaide, as Comets, and maybe as Campbelltown, which pushes them immediately down to sort of fourth place. I'm still thinking mid-table for them, but maybe not the slow start that I'd initially thought.
As long as they don't do a Grove and after pre-season fall off a cliff and then have to climb back up like they did. So
that's true.
Looking at some signings, they've been a big beneficiary of those NTC players leaving. Tanvid Unduli, Nicola Crantis, Lily Barber, Miley Grigg, to name a few. Jess Signorello moving to Metro as well. They've made some good signings. They've lost quite a few over to Adelaide City in particular. But looking at those ins, again, it's a young team too with a few sort of senior players at the core.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've also taken advantage of some of those players who left Campbelltown as well. They picked up a few of those players as well who, with all the new players coming in, weren't getting as much game time as they did maybe when Campbelltown was in the WSL. So it's good to see some of those players come across as well. But again, it's just another example of a club that is getting more investment in women's football. We see the change rooms they got. We see the combination now. They're allowed to train at the same facilities, use the same stuff that's getting improved there at Clemzig. And I think it's only going to go better from there. I mean, I'm not sure how much the training changes specifically, but with the facilities they have, with the attention to detail that whole club is going under now to be more professional, I think they can only succeed from that. And I think they have a good season. And I think they'll be right up there with the finals.
And just one more. One of their signings, Rochelle Saraturani, I think is how you pronounce it, joining from the Queen's League, which for those that don't know is a 7-a-side competition, which is sort of a mix of football and entertainment in a way. It's
a women's version of the Baller League in the UK.
Yeah,
but it's in Spain, I think.
Exactly, which I think is it's interesting to look at a player who's, I'm not sure how long that season goes for, but a 7-a-side player, maybe a bit tricky. Maybe you'd hope and think of on the ball even as well. It's an interesting prospect to bring in a player like that, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember when they were promoting the signing, I saw she does a bit of freestyle as well, football. And she played a promotional game at the Camp Nou. She wasn't an ex-Barcelona player. She just played at the stadium with the other influencers in the kit. But I think it's an interesting signing. I mean, they're obviously going different avenues to try and pick up players. You're seeing more and more of that in the women's game now, which is good. And I think should be a success there at Metro.
What is freestyling football exactly?
It's like when you do all the tricks and stuff,
like freestyle.
Oh yeah, the kind of stuff back in the 80s. You get your legs taken away from underneath you for doing. Got you.
But now it's celebrated.
Seal stuff,
Yeah.
Just what I was going to say was on the MetroStars with their change rooms. They've got their own dedicated change room, and I love the fact I did see the video they put together and sent out, and it was each player's got, like the men, they've got their own locker, they've got their shirt number, and I was just like, that's right up there. Like some of the men's clubs don't even do that in the top league, and they're pushing their women's to get there. Like they're folks. I think it's brilliant that they're pushing so much into it. As most of, when you look at it, the Comets, the Campbelltowns, they're all going, we need to start getting in more and more and more, and they're investing a lot more into it. It's fantastic to see.
Only a good thing.
Yeah.
Modbury Vista up next, promoted from the WSL on the final day of last year in dramatic circumstances. Their last in the WNPL didn't go as well. They finished bottom. They had 6 points and they drew all 6 of those games. Came down to the final day where there was a dramatic result between Birkalla and Salisbury, which got them relegated in the end. Do you see it going better this time around, Marc?
Honestly, I don't really know, to be honest. I think they'll be down there somewhere, but
Do you think they'll get at least their first WNPL win
yes.
ever?
Oh, yes. No, they'll definitely prove some teams wrong. Definitely prove some teams wrong, get some great positive results. If it's enough to stay up, I think they might just have enough to stay up. But like I said, I think that bottom sort of section is going to be very tight between a few teams. But I think they'll have enough to stay up, and I think they'll have enough to. They'll definitely get their first wins and like I said, prove some teams wrong.
David, I guess a few ins as well from Adelaide City, and Mina Nishitani moving over across from Inter, where she's been for quite a few years.
Yeah, Nishitani's a good pickup for them as well. But they have a solid core group there under the captaincy of Ella Smith. Ella Smith?
Yes.
Mental blank there, apologies. But they have a solid core group there that has come up through the WSL quite convincingly.
And there's a few players in the team now that were a part of that WNPL season as well.
Yeah. So, I don't think they'll be out of their depth. Although they've come from the WSL, I don't think they'll be out of their depth there. And I think Diaz has got them trained well. I mean, I think last year they said that they were training 3 nights a week, where most other WSL sides were training 2 nights a week. They already have that switched on mentality. They already have that WNPL outlook, if you like. So they're coming into the WNPL with that. Nishitani's a good pickup, like you said. There's a couple of overseas players coming in as well, I think. And so I think look, the bottom side goes down. Second bottom goes into the playoff with the WSL team. I'm not sure that they'll be as bad as the bottom side or even the second bottom side. So I'm going to pick them to stay up. And if they can stay up, they can build on that for future years. So, I think they'll do okay by their expectations. They won't make finals, but they'll take points off other teams when it matters, and when other teams maybe are expecting to take points from them, they're maybe a little bit overconfident. And I think that's where, a team like Vista can be tricky to beat and to get the points off.
Yeah, Alessio, I feel like for a team coming out for the WSL, the pass mark is probably not even to avoid the relegation playoff. It's just to avoid that bottom 2 entirely, you'd hope. Yeah,
I mean, they've been such a competitive team over the last couple of years. And you can see that with how many players have re-signed and only a couple as new signings. It's very similar to their men's team as well. And I think that under the coaching there of Diaz, they're very excited and a confident group as well. They would have thought that they've deserved this for the last 2-3 years to be in the WNPL, make a better representation of themselves and the club from the first time. And I really think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be comfortably mid-table this year as well. And I think that's just going to be down to the fact of how loyal the players have been, how loyal the coach has been as well, and how the way they've been playing, it's ready for that next test. And they're ready to have that this year.
We'll go to Salisbury Inter next. Finished 3rd last year. Angela Mills was their top goal scorer. Another top goal scorer that's left. I actually have it written down. 5 of every club in the WNPL. So half of the WNPL's top club goal scorers have all moved clubs, which is a pretty fascinating stat when I was looking at it before. Again, we spoke about the loss of Cote. The gaining back of Cote Rojas at Inter is huge for them, and hoping to sort of get back to regularly playing in grand finals and cup finals for Inter.
Yeah, I think that's why they brought Cote back, is to be pushing into those finals, making sure they're there. When you bring a player like that in, you're going to expect goals, you're going to expect assists, and you're going to expect all-round performances every week from her. She does everything. So that's the reason why Carl has them well-trained. He's got a good squad, and I expect them to be up thereabouts again this year, and they'll do well. They've got the players there, so I've got them sort of somewhere up there, but I think they'll be. I don't want to give anything away just yet, but I think they'll do fine. And like I said, Cote will only make them stronger.
David,
I've got them to struggle a little bit. They've lost Chantel Ryder, Mina Nishitani, Jazz Styles, Angela Mills, and also Talia Gumbel and Charlotte King have both gone to uni. So they're significant losses. I guess there are other teams that have lost more, but they're significant. The Cote Rojas thing, you got to get the ball to her, and just how's that service going to work, I guess, is the question I've got. Cote Rojas needs to have the ball to be able to shoot at the goal. How's that supply going to get to her with some of these players missing? Michaela Vidmar as well, will she have an impact?
Hardly played at all last year.
Hardly played at all.
Maybe they made one WNPL appearance in the first team, maybe?
That's right. So she's gone to Inter as well. But I don't know that that's a player who will have a significant impact on that team, given what we saw last year, or rather what we didn't see last year. So I think they might struggle a little bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, noting some of those outs, they were one of the only games I did commentate at WNPL, against Comets. And I did note Angela Mills and Jazz Styles were massive players for that team.
Jazz Styles in particular.
Yeah,
was
Jazz
probably
Styles
one of my standouts.
She was
last year
one of the
for
best
them.
midfielders I've seen. I think I even voted her for our team of the year midfield for the women's. So I think they are going to be big misses. But I mean, Michaela Vidmar obviously didn't have much of a season last year. But in limited time, it was obvious that the coaches rate when she can play, she will be good and she will be one of the better players in the league. So I think with a full pre-season, a fit season ahead of her, I think she'll add something great to that Salisbury Inter team. Cote Rojas, as we said, they've got to get the ball into her feet as well, which they might struggle if they don't have as many midfield players. I'm not sure if the American defender stayed. I forgot her name.
Lexi Knox, yes.
Lexi Knox.
Still
So
there.
she was another big signing midway through last year, who I thought was a great player for them as well. So keeping that core and having a good defense, I think, would be interesting for them. And I think they're going to have a decent season, but maybe not the heights of the previous couple of years they were at.
Yeah, just on Lexi Knox as well. She was such a sort of coup for the league and for the team. And you could see as soon as you saw her, she was sort of everywhere whenever Inter played. I think she even got a few goals by the end of the season. Such a good player for Inter. And as you said, it's important that she was kept by Inter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, her impact, I think, last year and the influence she had on the players around her was significant. And she was a guest of the podcast. I mean, once you've been in the podcast, you go right up in my estimation.
Next up, West Adelaide. I think the quietest teams in terms of transfers in the whole WNPL, sorry, only 2 transfers in, Lauriane Renault, the French-Canadian left back, and Nadia Bakary from MetroStars. Again, it is sort of a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They were undefeated last year, except, they will be hoping to reach and win that grand final, of course.
Yeah, I think the other reason it was relatively quiet was because they had the long season. They obviously went quite a way in, but they also wait until the season is finally over, that finals last played, before they start looking at approaching players and things like that. So, and even they want to make sure they've signed all the players from their own team they want to keep. So you run that risk of going, yes, we want to keep everyone, but who can we bring in that hasn't already been taped up by another club already?
Yeah.
And that's a very fine line for a club and a coach to do. I like it. It stands by its laurels. It's we don't do this until this point, which is brilliant. But like I said, you've also got to go, okay, can we improve? Because the problem is if you don't improve, you're standing still. Yes, it might not be broken, but you always can get better. So you've got to look at it and go, okay, are we getting better? The players we're bringing in, are we getting better? So you can't just leave it. It will get stale eventually if you just keep the same players. So they've brought in a couple of players, which is exciting. Really quite excited to see this left back. I know it sounds like an odd position to be excited to see, but the pedigree and the fact that it will bring something different to the game.
Well, I think especially in the case of a position which was held by Laura Johns, one of the best defenders, left backs in general to play ever, really, in the WNPL. It's an interesting prospect to see what's going to be different in that situation.
Yeah, because she's going to bring a completely different set of skills. So it'd be quite interesting to see how not only she adapts to the team, but how the team adapt to a different left back and a different style of play in that effectively on that side of the pitch. So it'd be quite interesting to see how they go. I mean, I think they'll do well. Don't get me wrong. But it will just be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, David, just to quickly mention the outs, Anna Pritchard, we mentioned to Campbelltown, Laura Johns retiring, and then Lydia DeCola having a year off to study for uni. Again, it's a small out list as well.
Yeah, only 3 gone and sort of 2 coming in. And when you look at the list of the ins and outs, it is quite remarkable. It does stand out the page at you that, West Adelaide have very little movement. I think that speaks volumes to the happiness or the contentment, and maybe that's the better word, that the players have under the Costa Jaric regime. And don't forget, Costa wasn't always a guy who won leagues with teams. He's built up his reputation, and now he's probably at the peak of, dare I say, at the peak of where he can go in the WNPL.
I was going to say, when that A-League Women's Adelaide United coaching position was up, I think it was definitely a name that people were thinking about.
Yep.
I was, with all due respect to the successful candidate, I was very surprised that Costa Jaric wasn't the person that went to Adelaide United. But for me, and he's friendly to me. We're not friends. We don't hang out, but he's friendly to me. We have a relationship. But if I was speaking honestly, I would say that, in the women's game, he is a bit of a coaching genius. I don't think there's many out there that are better. There's quite a few that are up there near him, but I think the guy's just a master at his craft, and he obviously has a way of just having a team that just doesn't want to go anywhere. Because even if you're a bench player, you're in the reserves at West Adelaide, you're still looking there thinking, that's the team I want to be in. That's who I want to play for, sort of thing. So bearing all that in mind, and then throwing the name Nina Yamada, and I think you've got a side there that's probably going to be very tough to beat through the home and away season. They do have a bit of a problem when it comes to...
I didn't want to bring that up. I'm glad you did.
I'll bring it up. They do have a bit of a problem when it comes to sudden death games. But, for me, old-fashioned me, the home and away season for me is what counts. As far as I'm concerned, West Adelaide have been the best women's side in South Australia over the last few years.
Alessio?
Yeah, I mean, talking about those signings and stuff, I have looked at them as well, and they have promoted a lot of their reserve players as well, which is great to see. I mean, I think it was both their reserve players won dual Player of the Year in the WNPL reserves. So it just goes to show at such a top team where you would be expecting maybe they'll pick out another great player from another team. Instead, they're going to build up through their youth, and instead of having to go elsewhere to poach their best players, they have the audacity to think that they've got the better players in their own system already. Yep. They've already got them. They can build up. They'd rather do that as well. These players have obviously been loyal to them, coming through their juniors as well, I'm sure. And it just goes to show that he's ready to give some of these young girls a crack who've proved it in that low below, which you don't really see too often in WNPL. A lot of those players move to a different club, get another opportunity, move to another one. You don't really see many of them that have come through the reserves and then they've come into that team. They've either been very good as youngsters and gone straight to the first team, or they've moved to another club to play first team. So it's good to see that they have that promotion through the club as well.
On to West Torrens Birkalla. They finished 6th last year, just missing out on finals. In their first 8 matches, they had a streak where they won 5 in a row. They had 2 wins in their last 8 matches, and those were against Adelaide City and Flinders United. So, again, it's another case of new coach as well, Marc, which you can expand on as well.
Yeah, so they've brought in Mitch Nicholson. So he's been coaching academies and the junior football a lot, really big on player development. So I think him coming in, the way he will want them to play is very much focused on let's keep the ball. If the team if we can't lose the ball, if we keep the ball, the other team's not going to score. Simply as simple as that. But also just trying to get the right players in the right areas to push them to score goals. I think they had a bit of an issue with scoring goals last year, where I think at times they just struggled a little bit. I think that will be one of his things, is just trying to really promote an attacking flair and an attacking game style. Vogel's saying it's probably one of the key players for them to make that happen. And I know that she's continuing at Berks, but I've got them as a bit of a dark horse because I like Mitch. I like the way he coaches, and I think that he might be able to just get a little bit more out of the team this year.
David, you mentioned one of the stayings, Caitlin Reardon, coming back from her time in Germany, another player who, before leaving, had a massive impact on the side too.
Yeah. Obviously, they fell away towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
But these players coming back in, they've also got Alice McCauley, I think, coming in from Adelaide City. So, they have got some quality players coming in. They did fall away towards the end of last year. I don't think they're going to have a great year this year. I think Kendall Jenner in goal is probably going to be one of the busier players in their team. She's a quality goalkeeper, though, so maybe that won't be a problem.
I'd say she's very highly rated, great keeper. So,
and Lena Fogelsang, obviously, I'm a bit of a fan of hers as well. Very good player. So there is a little bit of consistency there. I don't think they have as many players moving in and out as some of the other teams, but.
Relatively quiet.
Yeah, relatively quiet. Yeah, but I think they might struggle a little bit this year. I think they might find it a little bit difficult. But they have to do better than they did towards the end of last year. They have to start strong, I think, as well, because if you start poorly and you drop those first few games, you're already chasing the pack, aren't you? And you don't want to be in that position. And I've got a feeling that's where they will be if they don't pick up or improve in where they were towards the end of last year.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, going on David's point as well, it's a small game sample, the WNPL, so it's similar to that we talked previously about the state leagues. There's not many games to mess up or take slowly to progress into having a good season. So I think the key for them is, as David said, they've got to start early and get some points on the board and not leave it late to to try and get enough to stay up and stay out of the relegation couple. But I think they'll be in and around where they usually are, maybe a bit lower.
Going into next, our sort of other points / predictions, starting off with player/players to watch. For me, I've got two. You spoke about players getting promoted through West Adelaide. Bella Nelligan coming through, young forward, got to watch her play a couple of weeks ago. She came on, scored maybe twice off the bench. Just a very aggressive, I say aggressive in a nice way, in the fact that she fights for it, she gets forward, gets in the right positions, and really was a player that as soon as you saw her come on, she really was outstanding out of the players on the field. And then another one for Uni, Chinatsu Kaio coming in. That's based on things I've heard. Apparently she's been great in training. Again, I've only really heard good things about her, and I'm tipping her for a decent season. David, for you?
So I guess the problem with us not sharing this information before we start is that we might repeat. So Chinatsu Kaio is the player I've got down as the one to watch. And again, I haven't seen her. So, I mean, you know, what do you base it on? She has played for Japan at under 17 level, I believe. And what I've heard, what I've spoken to coaches and so on about, and not just Adelaide Uni's coaches, but coaches that have played friendlies against them, pre-season cup games against them, certainly seem to be very impressed with her. I think she'll be one to watch, undoubtedly. And have we had a Japanese player come to our league that's not been good?
Yeah.
Can you name a shit Japanese player? No.
It's a fair shout.
Marc, to you next.
I'm actually, for me, it's a little bit closer to home. I've gone with a young girl by the name of Grace Sawtell. She's returning from her second ACL injury. She missed all of last season. She missed all the season prior to that as well with the other knee. So she did both knees after each other. She come back, she did the next one. So she had a trial. Well, when I say trial, she was over at Rangers for a week training over there. They really, really liked what they saw. She came back, did her ACL. So for me, I want to see how well she does this year. Hopefully, she's able to stay fit and get back on the park. And I think this could be a really good year for her, especially with the way I predict Flinders to go. I think it could be a really good year for her to get really good game time and really put her name out there.
I think if you've gone to Rangers and not been picked, you've dodged a bullet.
Alessio, finishing off on you.
I've got Ariana Mondiri from Modbury Vista, an attacker they signed from the NCAA Division 1. Just reading up about her as well, and it was a couple of years there as well, and it was in, I think, the all-second team in her last season. And I think she'll be a good attacker to join that squad where they have so many goals flowing throughout that team, that I think that she's bound to have a successful year if she's part of that attacking trio or quartet.
Next up, our Cup winners, the winners of the WNPL WSL Cup. I'll go first. I have West Adelaide.
I have Comets.
I've got Comets, and on brackets I've written West Adelaide to choke.
Sure, they'll love to hear that.
I've gone with Campbelltown.
Okay, very interesting. Any real backing or just sort of...
No,
we'll see your league predictions, but you're confident in their season.
Yeah, I'm confident in their season. So,
Golden Boot winner. Shall we all say on 3?
1, 2, 3.
Check
Yamada. No, Nina Yamada.
I've gone Yamada. I just had to throw that in there.
And goalkeeper of the year, I'm going for Madison Molino of Adelaide Comets.
Chekovitz for me.
I'm actually going for Kendall Jenner. And I think...
Because she's going to be busy.
She's going to be in the limelight an awful lot, because I don't think West Torrens Birkalla are going to be particularly strong this year. And so I think Kendall Jenner might end up being the goalkeeper of the year. You can't be goalkeeper of the year if you're Aaron Murphy and you're conceding 1 goal a fortnight.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
Are you about to say Aaron Murphy?
I'm going Chekovitz.
Okay.
Well. Yeah, no, she's quality. And I think she's just an excellent keeper. Not saying the others aren't. That's my
Has
pick.
history in the league too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great to see her back.
Yeah.
Up next, our league predictions. But before that, let's hear a voice note about the WNPL.
Hi, my name is Elena, and I think that Campbelltown is going to win the WNPL. And then NTC, we're going to finish like mid-table. I don't want to say we're going to win and then we finish bottom. And then I don't want to say we finish bottom and then we do finish bottom. So yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you for that. with that, we'll go to our predictions for the league table. Full league table from 10 to 1. Top 5, of course, finals. Bottom, automatic relegation. Second bottom is playoff. So we'll go from Marc around to me. Starting with your 10th place and automatically relegated.
I've really struggled with this one.
I will add, this was probably out of all predictions from all our previews, this was the one I struggled with most because you look back to last year, 5th and 9th, separated by 5 points. That's 2 results going one way or another.
I don't have a very good record in any of this. So I apologise now because my record last year, I think I got 1 right in both. I think I picked West Adelaide to win, and I think that was
the one you got.
The only one I got right, and I think the same in the men's.
Got a few close, maybe.
I got a few close, but I think and in the men's, I think I had 1 right as well, and that's it.
So whatever team you pick first is probably going to do quite well.
Yeah, probably. That's one. Yeah. And funny enough, I said this, I used to try and pick the games each week and stuff like that. And I always said, whatever I pick, just go against me because you should be okay. That's how good I was. So I'm going to start. I think Flinders are going to be at that bottom spot, unfortunately.
David?
I'm actually going to go with Football NTC to finish in that bottom spot. Sorry, everyone.
I've got Flinders as well.
I also have Flinders United.
Oh, I thought I was going to be like the only one. Okay, so.
Playoff relegation 9th, Marc?
Modbury Vista, but they're going to stay up.
Okay.
I've actually got West Torrens Birkalla to finish there, but they're also going to stay up.
I've got West Torrens Birkalla there as well.
I also have West Torrens Birkalla there, and I think they'll stay up. 8th place.
I have Football SA and TC.
I have Salisbury Inter.
I have Adelaide University.
I have Modbury Vista in 8th, being safe from relegation. 7th.
I've gone with Adelaide Uni.
I've got Modbury Vista there.
I've got NTC.
I have NTC there as well. 6th place, just out of finals. Not again, Marc. Not again.
MetroStars.
I've got Flinders just missing out on finals football.
I've got Modbury Vista.
I've also got MetroStars in 6th. 5th, the start of the finals.
I've gone with Inter.
I've got Adelaide Uni to sneak into finals.
I've got Inter.
I have Uni to sneak into finals as well. 4th place.
I'm putting a lot of faith in this one after what you guys have said, but I have the faith in him. I've gone with Birkalla.
I've got the Mansoweto Hadai show, MetroStars in 4th.
I've got Metro in 4th too.
Salisbury Inter in 4th for me. 3rd place.
I've gone with Comets.
Okay. I've gone for Campbelltown.
I've got Comets.
I've got Campbelltown. 2nd place.
I've gone with West Adelaide.
Really?
Yep.
I've got Comets.
I've got Campbelltown.
I've got West Adelaide.
Really?
Yes.
So,
1st place.
Campbelltown.
West Adelaide in 1st.
West Adelaide.
Comets. Interesting.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah, that's
I like it a lot.
I didn't expect that. That's good.
I like
However, do we next pick who's going to win the final?
Yes.
West Adelaide.
I've got West Adelaide to not choke in the final
That's why
series.
I went with them as second because
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? Costa's going to go, bugger it. Let's finish second. We're going to play for second and then win the final.
Yeah, no, this is their year. They're going to win it. They're not going to choke in that one, and they're going to win it.
I have Campbelltown winning the grand final.
I have West Adelaide for the exact same reason as you, Marc. That was my thought process. And again, I think it is that sort of 5th to 9th spot where I think we'll probably most vary because, again, 5 points last year. Who knows what it's going to be this year? It's just so tight, especially in that sort of... And even that top maybe 2 to 5 last year, excluding West Adelaide. Another close point sort of range.
And I think between... When I've got Campbelltown, West Adelaide, Comets, I don't think it's going to be it's going to be one
I think it'll be
definite.
much closer this year.
I think it's going to come down to a point here or there. Like, I think those top 3 are going to be the top 3.
This is going to come back to bite us, when it's going to going to be like West Adelaide again.
Probably. But I think
I'll be okay, Alessio.
But I think
I said they're going to lose the grand final. Well, actually, I never said who's actually in it. I just said Campbelltown are going to win it. So I don't know.
But I think it's going to be really tight with those top 3. I think that's going to be that. And then it's going to be the next bracket. And it will be, I think that's how it's going to work.
Cool.
Very interesting. Before we finish off, let's hear predictions from WNPL commentator Paul Marcuccitti.
Hi, I'm Paul Marcuccitti, long-time WNPL commentator. Thanks to the One Game at a Time team for having me on to give my predictions for the 2026 season. And this year, Adelaide City looks the most likely team to win the championship and promotion to the WNPL. There are at least 6 players joining City that played at other WNPL clubs last year. 5 have followed City's new coach, Paul Marcuccitti from Metro. Add that to the group the club has retained, and you have a squad that's likely to be one of the front runners in the WSL, if not the front runner. South Adelaide are likely to be competitive again, and both Adelaide Jaguars and Cove FC look stronger this season. But the 2 teams I most expect to join City in the promotion race are Sturt Lions and Modbury Jets. Sturt, of course, finished second in the WSL last season and were defeated by Adelaide Uni in the relegation promotion playoff. Their squad is strong, and it still includes players that were terrific in Sturt's WNPL season in 2024, such as Izzy Barchiesi, Izzy Connor and Kaylee Wakeling. And Modbury Jets, whose struggles last year were mostly up forward, are boosted by the signings of 2 attacking players from Adelaide Uni, Isla Sarush and Mia McGranigan. And their midfield will be bolstered by Faith Hudson-Turner joining from NTC. I'll say City to finish first, Sturt second and Jets third, but this could be one of the most competitive seasons we've seen in the WSL in recent years. It's always tough to do, particularly when you don't know what A-League signings might join the competition during the season, but I'll give it my best shot. Firstly, the Premiership, awarded to the team that finishes top at the end of the regular season. I'm going to say that West Adelaide will win it for the 3rd consecutive year. Now they are without Laura Johns, Anna Pritchard and Lily DeCola this season, and there aren't many new signings. However, Canadian defender Lauriane Renault looks like a strong addition, and Ellie Sparrow could just about be considered an addition too, having only been able to return from injury late last year. Plus, West already had a deep squad. They may come back to the field a little, but they should be favourites to once again finish top of the ladder. For the championship, which goes to the team that takes out the grand final, I'm again predicting winners from last year and going with Adelaide Comets. Look, it's not popular to point this out, but history shows that teams that rarely concede goals in the WNPL Finals series are much more likely finals winners than teams that are free scoring. With an outstanding back four of Middleton, Weston, Cerulis and Nottridge, Comets absolutely nailed the defensive part of their game in last year's finals. They conceded just once in 5 hours of finals football. Now, other finals teams might try to set up like Comets did last year, but can they do it as effectively? Like West, there haven't been many ins and outs at Comets. West has the edge in squad depth, but Comets' best 11 is extremely strong. The other 3 clubs that made finals last year, Inter, Campbelltown and Metro, have done a lot more wheeling and dealing of players, and I expect they'll all be strong challengers again this year. I hate predicting which team will be relegated, but it has to be done, and I think it'll be Flinders United this season. Look, I love what Flinders have done, from the joint venture that brought Cumberland and Flinders Flames together, immediately winning promotion, and their 3 years in the WNPL thus far, which have seen them finish 8th on each occasion. But the loss of Cote Rojas will hit them hard. The Chilean superstar scored in every game that Flinders won or drew last season. And while Victoria Rickards and Claudia Adicott also added crucial goals last year, it's going to be harder for Flinders forwards when opposition defences aren't consumed by the need to stop Cote. Unless the squad is greatly strengthened this year, it's definitely going to be a tough road for Flinders United. My big call is that Adelaide University will challenge for finals this season. But for a combination of bad luck and missing some big opportunities to win matches, it could have happened last year. Because while Uni finished 9th, they were just 5 points out of 5th spot. Uni have lost the 2 superb overseas players they had last year in Nicole O'Neill and Lena Radler. But they've now added 3 players, Samantha Maudsley, Savannah Frisbee and Chinatsu Kao from the US college system, to bolster them both in midfield and up forward. Striker Kelly Tataran is now settled in after joining the club in the middle of last season, and speaking of forwards, Alana Fitzsimmons looks set to get back to her best, having returned from injury during the 2025 season. Uni's defence is mostly young, but they put in some great performances last year and will no doubt benefit from having had that season together. I have Uni 6th at the moment, just one place out of the finals. I'm confident they will at least ask a few questions of the more fancied sides. All the best to everyone in the WNPL for the coming season. Can't wait to bring it to you as part of the commentary team. And thanks again, one game at a time. And please don't roll this video again in September.
Thank you for that, Paul. Your expertise always appreciated, as knowledgeable and as good as you are at what you do. And I suppose just to add on to that, the one really good point he brought up is the other hard thing about predicting the WNPL is those A-League players that you either do or don't know might be coming back to one club, going back to another, not coming back at all, going interstate. There is that massive variable, I think, which sometimes should be taken into account, especially when we're doing these big league table predictions with what we know before the season starts. Marc, I guess.
Look at it happened for Campbelltown last year, and it changed their season. So you just never know who's going to come back, where they're going to go. Are they going to come back to the local WNPL? Are they going to go to Victorian Women's Premier League? You just don't know, and that's the issue. That makes it hard for us. But it's great when they do come back. We've seen it. It does help the league so much. I mean, like I said, Campbelltown's probably the ones that we noticed the most, because those players that came back midway through last year really changed it for them.
And even Paul said as well about Adelaide Uni, too, in particular, they brought in Mallory Mullen and Sarah Morgan. Whether or not they come back, I'm not sure about. But those, again, two players highly experienced that came midway through last season, David.
Yeah, they tend to go to the same clubs though, don't they? I mean, is that the case?
It depends. Well, Mallory Mullen's been at West Adelaide and Inter in the past few years.
And you look at some of the others that would normally go back to Adelaide City, all went to Birkalla.
Yeah.
So there's
Emily Hodgson normally goes back to West Adelaide.
Yeah. I think what worked for Campbelltown last year was strength right through the middle, wasn't it? Goalkeeper, defender, and Chelsea Dauber up front, and who went to midfield? Someone was in midfield anyway, but they had that strength right through the middle. But yeah, I mean, it's an unknown, really, isn't it? And we make these predictions at this point in time after having watched and heard a couple of friendlies. So it's a difficult pick for us. I hope everyone understands that. By the way, I didn't know it was Paul Marcuccitti. I've been calling him Paul Marcuccitti or something for the last 6 years.
Well, again, thank you for that, Paul. That's us just about done for the WNPL. Marc, to sort of finish us off.
Oh, just again, shout out to Pega Sports for all our attire. So thank you very much. And again, all the guys that have jumped on board to help us with our studio today, which is unusual to see us all together. It's normally
because it's impossible to do.
It's quite difficult for all of us.
First time I've touched you.
It's quite difficult.
Hopefully not the last.
Yeah. It's quite difficult for all of us to get together. So the fact is the guys at Macron, Pega and Belgravia all jumped on board to help us out with this setup in the studio here. And so thank you to all those guys. And like I said, Pega for decking us out today.
Absolutely. Thanks again, you three, for joining me. Men's NPL preview, if you're watching this as it's coming out tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. But for watching this, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
See you then.